Okay, here we go. All right, let's start off with your latest, piece of work, which is Get Off, right?
Yes.
If I have my intel correct. What's up with all that? And I will work in reverse.
Yeah. I mean, I wrote Get Off 3 years ago when I first moved to LA. I was like 19, doe-eyed, innocent. And there's this guy that was just so annoying, like calling me constantly, texting me constantly. And I was like, oh my God, like he wouldn't leave my apartment one time. And I was like, he's not even cute. And that's not the point. That's not the point. Like I've dated some uglies as well. But I was just so annoyed by his presence. And I was telling my songwriter and producer Lee Miles this story. And I didn't even think we were going to write about it. But then he says, like, it's like, get off my dick, bro. And I'm like, exactly, like, get off my dick. And we just wrote a beautiful song. And we found it so funny to say, get off my dick to a very beautiful instrumental track. We just found it hilarious. So that's how the song came to be.
Yeah, it seems like you have a very bold, um, yeah, you say cheeky in British English, which
Very cheeky, yes.
I used to do that too because I my the first city I've ever lived to in after moving from Italy was London actually.
Oh,
So
beautiful.
yeah, I used to say cheeky all the time, and I think it like fits more your vibe as well, right?
Yeah.
Um, so is that like mostly what you focus on in terms of songwriting themes and all that?
Yeah, I mean, I used to get called cheeky growing up every single day by everyone. So that's so funny how you noticed that already. Yeah, I always want my lyrics to be like super bold because as like a new artist, like you have to be bold and creative and out there in some ways because there's so many people out there. So I was just thinking like, let's just say the craziest shit that I can come up with. So people are like, who's this bitch saying get off my dick? Like their ears perk up and they're like, who is it? Let me search her up. So that's I try to do crazy lyrics like that.
Yeah, and the music as well. Like obviously, like you were inspired by all the pop, like the major like big pop, right? Like like big sounds and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
How do you come up with like the music? Like when you walk into the studio and all that, like what's the process like to be, for a song to become for an idea to become a song for you?
Yeah, I mean, usually I work with my producer and songwriter Lee Miles. He's amazing. He's so talented when it comes to songwriting and every instrument he can play. He's one of those. He's just incredible. So I get into the studio with him and we call it a therapy session for like 2 hours before we even get to writing a song. So I'm just in the studio, just like talking, yapping away, talking, talking, talking. Sometimes I'm crying. Sometimes I'm like ecstatic and like running around the room. Like there's all these emotions when we're in these therapy sessions. And I just talk about what's going on in my life. I talk about what I'm dealing with or what I want to write about. And then we just talk and talk. He talks for an hour, I talk for an hour, and then we just write something beautiful from those conversations. And something always just pops up that we want to write about. And then yeah, that's how it happens.
Yeah, I love that. What do you remember your first song? Like the first song that you ever wrote?
Oh gosh. Oh my God. I think I was like 5 years old. I don't even know if this counts, but I think I was
I think
five.
it should count,
Right. Yeah.
right? Why not?
Yeah, true. And I was just on the piano and I just like created this like chords, I guess. I didn't even know what I was doing. And I think it was like, oh, what was it? It was something about like all my siblings getting ready for school. And it was like, I'm totally forgetting it, but like all my family still sings it, and it's like, oh gosh, I wish I could remember. But yeah, it was something about my sisters and my brother getting ready for school, and it's like, when I see you in the morning, I say hi to everybody, like something cute like that. It was something like that. So that was my first song. That's so funny. I haven't
I
even
love that.
thought about that in a while.
I love that. Yeah, because my first song was about Jesus for church.
That's
So
so
it's
cute.
yeah, I wasn't
Yeah,
5 years old though. I think I was 12 or 13,
nice,
but
nice.
still. But then what was the artist or like the record or I don't know, like the first piece of music that kind of made you realize that you wanted to do that as well in your life? If there's one, or if, you know what I mean? Like there are some
Um,
artists that like kind of like took you to the, took you to the point of realization that you wanted to be a musician in life.
mhm. There's so many. There's so many. I grew up on, my mom used to like blast Madonna. My dad used to blast like Led Zeppelin, Johnny Cash, like, and I loved all those like old um music. I just always were obsessed. But then when I heard Freddie Mercury and Bohemian Rhapsody, that was like my all-time like number one, still is my number one artist. Like he's like the biggest inspiration to me when it comes to music. So like even in my next couple songs that are coming out, it's like it is Freddie Mercury-esque with like, there's this one song that it's called Weird Lie. It's gonna come out soon. And it's just like all beautiful, 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 and then rock melody at the end. It's so Freddie Mercury, but I'm obsessed. So I definitely take inspiration from him for sure.
Yeah, it's funny because he's my favorite artist too.
Really? Oh my
Queen has
god.
been is my favorite band for like.
Yeah.
I have
No
the crown
way.
tattoo for because he used to wear that at the end of every show. Remember?
Yeah. No,
So
I'm
I have him.
obsessed. That's
He's my
incredible.
number one. Queen is literally like what made me want to
Right?
be doing music in life. I
Wow. Oh my
I
god.
first, yeah, this is very this is
That's
a
crazy.
great coincidence.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, I mean, I feel like it's like that for a lot of people. Like Queen is like a very underestimated band, Freddie Mercury in general. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm glad that you feel that way too, because they had like that kind of attitude, and they were like
Mhm,
very sophisticated as well as a band,
mhm. Yeah, for
very
sure.
melodic too. So yeah,
Mhm.
it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Who's somebody that today is inspiring you a lot? Like there's a resurgence of like girly pop, and a lot of female artists are like rocking the scene, and there's kind of like a like even like music wise, like there's a return to like simple, powerful melodies. You know what I
Mhm,
mean? Like
mhm.
who's inspiring you these days? Do you have any specific artists that you're like really, you know, looking up to?
Yeah, I mean, I will always love like Sabrina Carpenter, Miley Cyrus, and like Dua Lipa, all those like pop girls. I'll always love them. But right now, Doechii is just my favorite right now. Like she is insane. Like the power she has, the confidence she has, and the honesty and vulnerability she has in her lyrics. Like I'm obsessed. So Doechii's definitely my favorite right now.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, and how is it that you keep your inspiration flowing? Because like I feel like living in LA does that. You know, like I've lived in LA for a year, and it was kind of like it was heaven and it was hell at the same time. Like, you know what I mean? Like I never felt like it was super great in terms like 'cause people can be superficial, like the show
Mhm.
business and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
How do you feel about that? You know, and like with because you talk about relationships and like the highs and lows of life and all that, and like being an artist is
Mhm.
certainly not a simple thing to deal with, like internally as well for the artists themselves. So how do you feel like you're inspired like every day by living in LA?
I wouldn't say every day. There's definitely like ups and downs when it comes to my inspiration, but and when I first moved here 3 years ago, I was literally 19 and like I was so innocent and like I thought I came from such a loving family and such a loving country, Australia. Like so I didn't know like and all girls around my age, they were not fake. Like they'll tell it to your face if they don't like you. Like there was no fakeness. So I came out here and I'm like, wait. Like she lied to me? Like, wait. I was just like shocked that people like lied to your face and like just because they're social climbing and want to get something out of you. It was such a shocking moment. And that happened to me. And then even I mean, I was listening to the wrong people when I first came out here. Like I didn't have the right team around me for sure. And people did take advantage of me and my parents and take advantage of like our trust and like love. So yeah, it was a hard realization, but I'm glad I went through it because I'm now 22 and I now have a little bit of my walls up, and that's a good thing because now like they can't get to me, and I'm always aware of what goes in and out of my business. But for inspiration, it's always just something that's happening in my life, like something the the most inspiration I get is when I'm going through something like very hard in my life, because I'm just like, oh my God, I'm going to spill everything into my music. Like the last song I released was The Reckoning, and it was about me being in the midst of like my heartbreak for the first time. Like I was so in love with this guy and he broke my heart, and I just wrote about it. I wasn't even going to release it. It was just therapeutic, but that's like the biggest inspiration when I'm like going through something, for sure.
Nice. And since you mentioned it, I think like this would be interesting for our audience to know, because a lot of our followers are aspiring musicians
Mhm.
themselves, and like they also like look at artists like you to get like advice about how to do it themselves. You mentioned having the right team around you. How does somebody who's a musician, who's an artist, and all that go about that? Because I feel like even at first, like it could be a kind of a gamble, right? Like you can never know who you run
Yeah.
into unless you know that person already, unless he's been recommended by somebody and all that stuff. Um, how does somebody look for that type of thing, and what do you look for in like a manager or like an agent or like somebody that you want close to you for your
Mhm.
career?
I mean, this is gonna sound like a little bit like woo woo, but I always go for like my gut instinct, and like the minute the hairs on the back of my neck go up about someone, like I'm just like, oof, like my body will tell me if someone's not good for me. So, and I used to ignore it and ignore it and ignore it for years. And I knew the whole time, like I literally knew, and I was right. Like the truth always comes out. So just trust yourself, trust your gut, I would say. And yeah, just don't don't trust too easily, and because you will never know if you have the right team. Like I feel as like right now I do have the right team, but I still will never know, like especially in LA people switch like that. So it is really hard, but just back yourself and be confident in what you have, and stand your ground, and like don't let people walk over you. And that's basically it, because people are going to switch, but just trust yourself and trust your gut, because yeah, you never know out there with these people.
Yeah, that's very true. Um, how do you come up with like your aesthetics and like your visuals and like music videos and all that stuff? Like what inspires the visual component of your music? Because like again, your music is very bold and out there and like strong. You want to send a strong message and all that, right? Like how do you match your aesthetics to that?
To be honest, right now I've never done a music video before, but with aesthetics, I'm still figuring out what exactly I want my style to be, and like working on my hair color. As you can tell, it's like yellow, so it's still in the works. But I think I'm always like going to be like a bit on the classier end. I just like I don't know, classy yet like edgy, and something that just matches like my music for sure. Something that just like flows. Yeah. It's still work in progress.
Yeah, kind of like Freddie, like you can be inspired. Like yeah, he was kind of like that too. You
Yeah,
know?
for sure.
Classy but bold and all that. So
Yeah.
never, yeah, never get astray from Freddie and Queen. Like I feel like they're always super inspiring, especially
Yeah.
like, with all their like B-sides and like songs that are like
Hmm.
not completed or like never released and all that.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, cool, awesome. So what's going on with you right now in 2025? Um, how you mentioned you have a song coming out. If you can share that when we'd be happy to hear about it. But if not, we'll um, we'll publish it when it comes out. But is there anything else that you're working on right now?
Yeah, so I'm constantly like songwriting with Lee Miles, and constantly working on my music, and I'll be releasing a song every 6 weeks. So that's exciting. I just released a song last Friday, I'm pretty sure. It's called The Reckoning. It's about, like I said, it's about my ex-boyfriend and like my heartbreak, and it's very specific. It's a very mean song. So yeah, be warned. But I'm also working with Lorianne Gibson. She is, I think, in my opinion, the #1 choreographer in the world. She's worked with Lady Gaga. She did all of her music videos, all of her stage concerts. Megan Thee Stallion. She's worked with literally everyone you can think of. So I'm so grateful to be working with her. So I work with her 5 to 6 days for like 3 hours every day. And that's great. She's developing me into the artist that I truly am, and like getting it out of me so amazing. I've never worked with someone like that. So she's getting my performance element perfect, because hopefully in 3 months I will be back on stage for the first time in years, and I'm so ready for it. So that's exciting as well. So just new music, working on my social media, dancing every day. And I actually also am a student, because that's how I have to live in LA. So yeah, I'm a student, a full-time student as well, which I hate. But whatever, you have to do what you have to do.
Full-time, yeah, full-time life, like when you're creative, like there's no time off. You know what I mean?
No
Like,
time.
you're
No.
on all the time.
Mhm.
Okay, awesome. So with all this music that you have coming up, are you exploring like different songwriting themes, like, or are they like are all these songs kind of like on the same wavelength, or are you exploring something different? Like, kind of like give us like a bit of an overview to, like, kind of wrap this up.
Yeah, I mean, I always like to explore with new sounds in my music for sure. Like the last song I wrote, I like did a full rap section in it. So just imagining me rapping, but like I do rap. So yeah, I like to explore, but I always like my songs to just like come from a emotional state, like a true state of what I'm going through. So every one of my songs has a background to it. Like there's always a story behind every single one of my songs. And I hope that the listeners, whenever they listen to any of my music or any of my songs, they can relate to something in one of them or two of them or whatever.
Awesome. That sounds great. We can't wait to see you live on stage again.
Yes, I'm so excited for that.
Yeah. Are you
Yeah.
touring, or is it going to be more like an LA show?
I'm not sure yet. I'm hoping by the end of the year I can get on a tour. But as of now, I'll be probably performing at like the hotel cafe or like some, those little stages, just to get back in the swing of things for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, this was great. Like next song that comes out, we'll definitely publish it, and can't wait to see what that's going to be all about. So,
Yes, definitely. Thank you
in the
so
meantime,
much.
thanks so much for your time. This was great. It was great getting to know you and your music and your cheeky attitude. Can't wait to see how that develops.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just gonna
Thanks
get
for your
worse.
time. This was great. This was great. Thank you, Lucinda. We'll be in touch, and thanks a lot for your time.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.